Welcome, everyone, to the July 21st, 2025 regular Board of Aldermen meeting. Would everybody please join with me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka.
Here.
Alderwoman Tice. Here. Alderwoman Goad.
Here.
Alderwoman Sims. Absent. Alderman Lockmiller.
Here.
Alderman Gould.
Here.
Alderwoman Harder. Here. Alderman Erger.
Here.
7 members are present.
Okay, thank you. Next up is approval or amendment of the agenda. Do we have any changes? Any objection to approving the same by acclamation? Seeing none, it will be so approved. Brings us down to announcements, appointments, proclamations, and recognitions. We have 2, and I am sorry, Kelly, I'm not into the system yet, so I can't read the first one. I don't know if,
Parks and Recreation.
yeah, no,
Oh.
there's actually a proclamation.
Oh, you want to read the proclamation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're
I didn't-
proclaiming it, I
I
think we
didn't
ought
print
to.
one.
It's there.
If somebody else can find it,
I can get it for, okay.
Okay.
All right, well, he's faster
Okay.
than I am.
thank you. Well, you want mine? No, I'm kidding. All right, State of Missouri proclamation, designation of July as Park and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Brentwood, Missouri. And whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and a region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are intellectually or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Brentwood, Missouri recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now, therefore, I, Mayor David A. Dimmitt, by the authority invested in me as mayor of the City of Brentwood, Missouri, and on behalf of the Board of Aldermen, do hereby recognize the month of July as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Brentwood, presented this 21st day of July, 2025. There's another one? No, I think we're good on the proclamations. Thank you. Next up is I believe, Fire Department. Is that right? Where are we, Chief? There we go.
All right, good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to welcome 2 new firefighter paramedics to the city of Brentwood. We're going to go one at a time. So if Joey Marciano would please come forward. Go ahead and read Joey's bio, and then we'll do the oath of office and the badge pinning. So Joey Marciano began his career with the Brentwood Fire Department on April 14th and immediately began attending the St. Louis County Fire Academy. Joey was born and raised in St. Louis. He is a graduate of Vianney High School and went on to attend the University of Missouri, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Modern Western History. Following graduation, Joey worked in the restaurant industry and began volunteering as a firefighter with the Saline Valley Fire Protection District, which sparked his passion for emergency services. He later attended the IHM Paramedic Academy and earned his paramedic license in 2013. Joey began his EMS career as an EMT with the St. Louis Fire Department, quickly transitioning to a full-time paramedic role. He went on to serve as a flight paramedic with the St. Louis Children's Hospital, where he obtained his flight certification and gained experience working in multiple emergency departments. In 2025, Joey earned his associate's degree in nursing and is now a licensed registered nurse. He joins the Brentwood Fire Department from Christian Hospital Northeast EMS Department. Joey comes from a hardworking, close-knit family. His mother, Gina, worked as a restaurant manager. His father, Mickey, was a cement mason. Both are now deceased. He has a brother, Michael, who's a firefighter with the St. Louis Fire Department and working this evening, and a sister, Nicole, who is currently pursuing her CPA. Joey's Aunt Rosa, who will be pinning him tonight, played a special role in his upbringing, introducing him to ice hockey and helping transport him to countless practices and games through the years. He currently resides in South St. Louis. In his free time, Joey enjoys spending time with family and friends, watching B-rated horror movies with his girlfriend, Lacey, and caring for his dog, Puck. He also hopes to get back into playing hockey soon. So the oath of office for Joey.
I'm just going to share this. Repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Joey Marciano,
I, Joey Marciano,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the ordinances of the city of Brentwood,
the ordinances of the city of Brentwood,
and that I will faithfully and diligently demean myself
and that I will faithfully and diligently demean myself
at all times
at all times
while serving as a firefighter paramedic for the city of Brentwood,
while serving as a firefighter paramedic for the city of Brentwood,
for which I was officially appointed on the 21st day of July 2025.
for which I was officially appointed on the 21st day of July, 2025.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Stick it yourself.
All right, but
I thought you were going to.
I'll grab it in just a second, Alderman.
Very good.
Adam Kohlschreiber, would you please come forward? This is Adam Kohlschreiber. He began his career with the Brentwood Fire Department on June 20th, 2025. Born and raised in St. Charles, Adam's a 2018 graduate of Chaminade College Preparatory School. He's since attended Webster University, where he is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in business. In 2024, Adam enrolled in paramedic school at the St. Charles County Ambulance District and graduated in December of that year. Shortly after, he attended the St. Louis County Fire Academy, completing his training in April 2025. Although new to the fire service and EMS field, Adam has prior experience in the fire protection industry, where he worked for several years before entering paramedic school. His dedication and hands-on experience have provided a strong foundation for his transition into emergency services. Adam's parents, Greg and Mary, also reside in St. Charles, and we hope join us soon. Adam currently lives in St. Charles County and enjoys spending his free time with family, friends, and the family's 2 dogs. His hobbies include woodworking, especially crafting wooden American flags, working outdoors, small engine repair, and automotive projects. Adam is enthusiastic about being a long and meaningful career in public service with the Brentwood Fire Department. Mr. Adam Kohlschreiber.
Then we can both read off. I, Adam Kohlschreiber,
I, Adam Kohlschreiber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the ordinances of the city of Brentwood,
the ordinances of the city of Brentwood,
and that I will faithfully and diligently demean myself
and that I will faithfully and diligently demean myself
at all times
at all times
while serving as a firefighter paramedic for the city of Brentwood,
while serving as a firefighter paramedic for the city of Brentwood,
for which I was officially appointed on the 21st day of July 2025.
for which I was officially appointed on the 21st day of July 2025.
Impeccable timing. Adam will be pinned by his mother.
Okay, thank you so much.
Adam.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, next on the agenda is public hearing. We have, I believe, 5 matters. Is that correct, Mr. City Attorney? 4.
Well, 5 matters.
Five, 2 are published as one notice.
Right.
And then 3 others after
I
that.
don't know, do you want to address that, or?
Sure. So we have on the agenda a proposed code amendment, and we also have an application for a conditional use permit submitted by Bitcoin Bull LLC, that if the if the text amendment occurs, then they could submit a conditional use permit. So they're kind of running on the same track. We published the notice for the public hearing as one, but it addresses both topics. So what I would suggest is, when you open the public hearing, maybe we'll seek comment, and Whitney can present comment on the proposed amendment to section 400.1375. After all comment on that is exhausted, then we can seek comment on the specific proposed use by Bitcoin Bull LLC, and then you'll proceed with the other 3 public
Okay,
hearings
thank
as
you.
noted.
So with that, I'm going to gavel open the public hearing for Bitcoin. Nope. No, that's what I'm saying. It's,
Yeah, the notice
Right.
reads as Bitcoin, Greg Carlin, Bitcoin Bull, but
Right.
then references the text amendment halfway down.
see that? So it's Greg Garland of Bitcoin Bull LLC submitted for a text amendment to allow for educational services as a conditional use for Class C properties of less than 1 acre in Manchester Corridor Commercial District under sections 400.1375E subsection 2, as well as the review of the conditional use permit and site development plan for the Bitcoin Benz Crypto Club Technology Education Center at 8513 Manchester Road. Section 400.1375E2 requires site approval plan, plan approval by the Board of Aldermen with recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission for any conditional use permit. So that actually deals with the 2 matters.
Yes,
The
it
text
does.
amendment and then the conditional use
Correct.
permit. Okay, so we gaveled that open. Whitney.
Good evening. Tonight, I'll talk first about the text amendment, which is to allow for business schools and computer and management training, with the specific of computer training as a conditional use in the MC district for properties less than 1 acre. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval by a vote of 8 to 1 for a total of 9. And therefore, that is the text amendment before you tonight. We felt that the Bitcoin was operating outside of just a general office, as they are providing computer training and classes.
Well, let me just interrupt you, but right now, this is just for the text amendment.
Correct.
Okay,
So this is to allow just for the computer training. We felt that we couldn't categorize it as just a general office, and therefore the best, under the North American Industry classification, that it fit best under the computer training. And we thought that allowing for the larger category could allow for some other businesses as well that operate as a business school, as a conditional use as well.
Okay.
So,
Any questions from the board on the text amendment? Alderman Plufka.
You know the rationale of the negative vote?
no, I don't.
Alderman Gould.
I do have a question. So with the
the provision that is written in here that it's limited to under an acre, that's to prevent larger schools to being constructed on Manchester Road or anything like that. Is that the
Since-
intent?
Yes. Well, I was keeping it focused on their application.
Well, I'm talking about the text amendment in
As a
general.
general,
In general,
yes.
for that, if we approve this for the MC district,
We
this
could-
would limit a larger facility to be, that's more than an acre, to be able to be built, which I think is I don't think the vision for the area is to be large,
Correct.
buildings.
Correct.
and-
I was thinking this more on the smaller scale
Okay,
for those properties under an acre.
okay.
If we do get an application for a larger property,
We'd have to take that up
we
separately.
would have to take that at a future date.
Okay, that's the clarification I wanted on the text amendment.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions solely about the text amendment? We'd like to open it up to the public. Anybody in the public care to speak on the issue of the proposed text amendment? Now is the time to do so. All we ask is that you come to the podium and state your name, please.
Good evening. My name is Greg Garland, and just as a point of clarification, I don't know if this is a detail that needs to be addressed or not, but my LLC is Bitcoin Bull. That's my personal LLC. I did cryptocurrency consultants. I've largely given away that activity in the interest of Bitcoin Bend Crypto Club. Bitcoin Bend Crypto Club is actually the applicant for approval to open up. As I said, my name is Greg Garland with a D. I noticed in the document it had no D there, so no Christmas tree jokes, please. I'm a resident of O'Fallon, Missouri, not the other O'Fallon to the east of us. Lived in the St. Louis area for most of my life. I am trying desperately to retire from American Airlines yesterday so that I can pursue this full-time. I'm old enough to retire. I want to retire, but I love what we're doing. Educating people, educating communities, educating companies on how to adopt blockchain technology, Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies. That is our mission. We were supposed to be the fourth club. We're probably now going to be the sixth or even seventh. We've had unforeseen delays. I take partial responsibility for that. This is my first time making such an application. I am representing my partner, the other trustee in our business, Ben Semchi, who's made a number of appearances. In fact, we've made 4 attempted appearances before the Planning and Zoning Commission. One of them, unfortunately, was canceled at the last minute, and Ben had to head back home to Sarasota without anything being done. He couldn't make it here tonight. He is our primary spokesman. He's the face. He's the founder of our business. So I will do the best I can to answer any questions that you may have. We first started, 2.5 years ago with our first club in Sarasota, Florida.
If I could just
Yes, sir.
interrupt you just for a second. The way, I know, I can understand why you're speaking to the actual, what I'm going to call the conditional use permit.
Yes.
At this point, because it's included in the first public hearing.
Okay.
But that's actually, there's 2 separate portions of that. So right now, all we're taking up is the text amendment, which would simply permit that type of a business down in the Manchester corridor district. We're not taking up the conditional use permit at this time.
Okay.
After we're done with all the public comment for the text amendment, then I'm going to open it back up to the board members for the CUP and then take questions from the public. But I would like you to stay here because when it comes time for the CUP, there might be a bunch of questions that only you'll be able to answer since you're the applicant, if that's okay.
Well, I primarily want to correct that it's not my LLC that's making the application, but Bitcoin Bank Crypto Club. And if
Bitcoin-
there's a better time, and I promise this will not take more than 2 or 3 minutes to give you a brief introduction to our business.
And I think it's only be a couple of minutes before I ask you to come right back up.
Very good.
But
Thank you,
just so I
Mr.
can
Mayor.
keep it clear in my little brain how we're doing this.
right, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else want to speak on the issue solely at this point of the proposed text amendment? Anybody online?
Let me check real quick. No one with their hand raised.
Okay, thank you. So now we're going to take up the second portion of the public hearing, which is the conditional use permit for this particular business. And as you all know, there are a number of factors that need to be satisfied. Whitney, I don't know if you want to come up and speak to that now?
So on the conditional use permit, the site specifics were looked at. as part of approval, they have agreed to provide additional landscaping that was required as part of the site development plan. That was reviewed by Planning and Design Studio, and CBB did look at the traffic. He did not have a concern on the traffic. As a condition of approval, it also requires cross-access across the back to get to, I believe that's Ruth Avenue. And therefore, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval by 8 to 1 vote. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Alderman Gould.
I have a question regarding, typically with the CUPs, do we usually see sign packages with the site plan as well?
Only if they are proposing any. The applicant is aware of the sign code, and if it does not meet with our current sign regulations, then they would come back at a later date for a comprehensive sign plan.
Okay, so there's no concern about potentially moving this forward and then having
Correct.
sign plan presented later?
Correct. They have indicated they have no intention of wishing to do a comprehensive sign plan, that they would meet with all of the city's regulations.
Okay, and that includes like, I just want to make sure I'm clear. So that includes on the building or adjacent near the building on the lot?
Correct.
No
Windows-
additional?
Window signs are limited to 20% of the window space. The wall signs would have to meet the wall sign regulation. They have not indicated if they wanted a ground sign, but that would also have to be reviewed per the code.
And what does our code stipulate for, signage that's on trucks or anything like that? Do we have restrictions on that from the street?
We do have a requirement that signs are prohibited on vehicles, but that excludes any signs that are painted directly on a van or car. So there is there's no restriction on where those can park.
Okay.
They are aware that the RV is not allowed parking on this site. And they said it's currently in Florida, and they have no intention of bringing that to St. Louis.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Lockmuller.
Would I be able to ask a question of Mr. Garland?
Sure. Mr. Harlan, or if you want to, Garland, I'm sorry. If you want to just come up right up there. Thank you.
Don't call me Judy.
Yes.
And by the way, I once dated a woman named Holly. She refused to marry me for that reason. She was not going to carry my name.
That is good.
Mr.
Alderman
Garland,
Lockmuller.
your nature of the business is somewhat all digital, and you have I guess your partner has a podcast, and the learning seems to be online. Why a physical presence?
I'm going to try and make this a short answer. When I first met Ben, I had that very same question. And based on our experience over the past 2.5 years, he was 100% correct. It is so common these days for people to go on a search to learn something online and not know what they're really dealing with. They want to have the opportunity to look somebody in the eye, shake their hand, have a conversation with them, and know what they're talking about. Furthermore, I know in the past few years, crypto's gotten a lot of negative press, not only from the media, from some government agencies, certainly from the banking industry. There's been a lot of scare stories out there. Quite frankly, if we were going to do something not in the best interests of our members, why would we produce our address? They'd know exactly where to find us. I think it's incredibly important to have a physical presence, and that's borne out in the past 2.5 years. We have a large walk-up curiosity to come see our clubs. They see the sign, Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. As I said, the first one was in Sarasota. And people just walk up and say, I've heard about crypto, I've heard about Bitcoin, I don't know anything about it. That's exactly why we're here. We want to educate people, take the fear away, and show them primarily how to deal in this through self-custody safely, being aware of some of the criminal activities that they're subject to. So again, it's just having that physical presence. They know where they can stop in and talk to us. I think it's very important. Long answer to your short question, I'm afraid.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, I'd like to open it up to the public, same thing. If you'd like to speak on this matter, which is the conditional use permit of the applicant, now is the time to do so. And no one online. So with that, I'm going to close. Yep, I'm sorry.
Had the applicant finished his presentation from before? I just want to make sure.
Okay.
We kind of cut him off when we were talking about the
Gotcha.
text
Thank you.
amendment. In
Thank
case
you.
there was anything else he wanted to say on the CUP. I
Yeah,
just wanna make sure he
is there
gets
anything
heard.
else you want to speak?
May I answer Mr. Gould's question?
Of course.
Okay.
This is the best time to do
You'd
it.
mentioned the question about signage. I've heard that people are concerned about RVs being parked there, paint being in the windows. I don't know where that's coming from. It's completely unfounded. If you look at our other clubs in Sarasota, Nashville, Massachusetts, Dallas, Las Vegas, with more coming in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Arizona, and here, there's no precedent for that. I do have a small utility van. It's a a Ram ProMaster City. It's in your parking lot right now. I've got a picture of it on my phone. That will be on the property every day. But as far as permanent signage, no, not intended. Now, we did have an RV parked here for a short time. It didn't have any signage on it. It was only here because it belongs to the owner in Florida, and they had to fly back, and they just needed somebody to drive it back. He and his administrative assistant, Heidi, drove up here one time in that RV, were met by, I don't know what officials of the city, were not aware that it couldn't be parked there, and they immediately moved it to an RV park. And that was long before the one that was left here for a couple of weeks. But the only reason it was left here was because we needed somebody to drive it back. With regard to paint in the window, again, there's no precedent from any of our other clubs doing that. We're not going to advertise low prices. Nobody's going to beat our prices. 48 months, 0 interest. That's not what we do. That can be supported with access to our websites. You can see that there's no evidence to those concerns. Okay?
Anything else that you'd like to, with the understanding that we're going to have a first read on this tonight, so
Right.
there'll be more opportunity. There might be some more questions by the aldermen. So again, I'd like for you to stick around.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any comment on either the text amendment or the conditional use permit? If not, at this point, I'm going to close the public hearing on item 5A, and I'm going to open the public hearing on item 5B, which is 7 Brew Coffee.
Good evening. 7 Brew Coffee has submitted an application for a new conditional use permit within the Schnucks Parking Center at 8828 Manchester Road. The property is on GC, which requires a conditional use permit for any drive-through facilities and are limited to properties over a half acre. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed and recommended approval at 8-0 at the June meeting. And I'm available for any questions. We were notified after the Planning and Zoning, like last week, that one of the Planning and Zoning Commission members was at a 7 Brew and they had loud music. That was not discussed as part of the Planning and Zoning Commission. It was brought up after the fact. I did notify the applicants that our noise limitation for day and nighttime, so they would have to meet with that. The proposal also excludes the use of neon striping around the building. That would have to be reviewed at a later date under a comprehensive sign plan per the city's sign regulations.
Is there somebody from CBB here?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see you back there. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes. Lee is out of town, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Any questions by the board at this point in time? And you can ask them now, or you can ask them when that comes time for the first read. It's entirely up to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I would note that as part of that discussion, it does require the board to approve a variance in the parking. Lee did provide a documentation of that. There would be currently short 21 spaces, but he felt that the flow of the use of the parking, there was sufficient room on site.
Okay, thank you. No questions from the board at this point, then I will open it up to the public. Anybody in the public care to address this applicant? And that is, again, for a conditional use permit for a 7 Brew Coffee in the parking lot of the Schnucks. If not, I'm sorry.
online.
Okay, I will go gavel close the hearing on item 5B, move down to 5C, and gavel open the public hearing for item 5C, the Good Clean Dog. Do we have anybody speaking on that? Whitney, are you?
Had to get the right file.
Okay.
So Jen Stewart is here. She submitted an application for a new conditional use permit and site development plan for dog grooming and with drive-up services at the building at 1234 Hanley Industrial Court. The property is zoned LI, where pet boarding facilities and personal services is listed as a conditional use. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval at 8-0.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board on this? Anybody from the public care to speak on this item, 5B? I'm sorry, 5C. Thank you so much. So with that, I will close the public hearing on item 5C, the Good Clean Dog, and gavel open the last item, and that is the public hearing for L'Arche, which is item 5D.
Good evening again. Paula Keon of St. Louis Arch submitted an application. Their original application was approved last year for the development of the group home in conjunction with the CUP for adult daycare facility. They have come back to ask for an amendment because they are looking to add an elevator within the building of their offices at the daycare facility building to make the interior space more ADA compliant. And therefore, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval by a 8-0 vote.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody on the board about L'Arche's application? If not, I'll open it up to the public. Again, anybody in the public care to speak on the application for the site plan review and amendment to the conditional use permit for L'Arche? Now is the time to do so. Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing for item 4D and move on to citizen comments. Anybody in the public care to address the board about anything? Now is the time to do so. Please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and you'll be given up to 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Mike Fitzgerald. I'm a Kirkwood resident. For the record, my address is 729 Cleveland Avenue, Kirkwood. I am here tonight to request that the Brentwood City Council pass a resolution in support of federal workers and scientists who lost their jobs to the mass firing campaign begun earlier this year by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. In addition, I'm asking that Brentwood reach out to neighboring communities, to businesses and nonprofit groups to set up resource fair to help these workers and scientists find new jobs, sign up for things such as health insurance. Resolution I'm asking to adopt is similar to the one that the St. Louis County Council adopted in early March. I'm calling on you to pass this resolution because in the 6 months that have passed since Trump returned to office, he has accelerated his attacks on the federal workforce by shutting down entire agencies and erasing collective bargaining rights in brazen violation of the law. Trump just got the green light to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education, while his plans to gut NASA are well underway. The job cuts he's ordered at the National Weather Service have been bone deep. We've seen the result of those cuts in the aftermath of recent flash floods in Texas, hundreds of preventable deaths. So far, nearly 300,000 federal workers have been forced from their jobs since Trump returned to office, or they face planned reductions. That's more than 10% of the entire federal workforce. St. Louis County alone, there are more than 25,000 federal workers, and at least 3,000 have lost their jobs or soon will because of staff reductions. What's more, Trump has taken a sledgehammer to America's vital scientific infrastructure. He's terminated unlawfully thousands of grants awarded to the National Institute of Health, National Science Foundation, and other agencies. These terminated grants have shut down groundbreaking research in Alzheimer's disease and ALS at Washington University and St. Louis University, respectively, to cite just a few examples. Passing this resolution will do something else. You will be standing up to Trump and his minions. You'll be saying no to their cruelty, their incompetence, their corruption, their lawlessness, their constant efforts to make us forget about the Epstein files. Here is one thing I'm sure of. History is kind to those who stand up to the bullies, because doing so takes courage, and because this is the only way to protect our democracy. As for me, I have little choice in the matter. You see, when I was a child, I was targeted by bullies, and too often I was too afraid to defend myself. Many years later, I vowed never to make that mistake again. This time I have vowed to speak up for those targeted by Trump and his lackeys, and that includes federal workers and scientists. Standing up to bullies. That is the only way I can look at myself in the mirror, and the only way I can sleep at night. I wish the same for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzgerald, if you have a proposed resolution, if you would, just leave it with our deputy clerk there. Yeah.
Copy of St. Louis County's.
Perfect. Just my email address is online. Thank you very much, and thank you for taking your time to come here tonight. Anybody else? Yes? Take your time.
My name is Michael Fletcher. I'm a new resident, and I like it in Brentwood. But I had an incident that occurred the other day that troubled me, and I think it would trouble you as well, so I decided to come here and to tell you. There was I live at 1270 Stroessner, which is a condo complex over by the hotel on, see, I'm getting flustered already.
Hanley Station. It's Hanley Station? Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, there was a small, we had some suspicious activity in the garages. And so I went over to the police station to talk to someone to, express my concern. I went into the police station and there were glass walls on 3 sides and nobody there. Thought that was a little bit troubling. But they did have a phone on the wall and some phone numbers that I could call to get a hold of somebody. So I went over and I picked up the phone and there was no dial tone. This struck me as kind of, whoa. And then of course there was also the other thing that if I had had someone suspicious following me, I was trapped. There was no one there who could have helped me and there was no way out. But anyway, I got a hold of an officer who came to talk to me, and he was very polite. I had no complaints there. And he said that they would see about having a patrol go through once a night in order to check things out, which, okay. I was a bureaucrat for 30 years, and I know how organizations tend to work. It would take less than 10 minutes to go through that garage, and there are, on an average night of 8 hours, 480 minutes, which means the odds are 50 to 1 against them seeing anything. That would not be sufficient in order, if you have a need for a patrol, you can't do it with just one time through. And so that to me said that there, from the way he presented it, this was the normal procedure. If you have a complaint, they'll have a patrol go through. And to me, this smacks of a systemic problem because it's like, I'm trying very hard not to sound condescending. It's like the police department has been over-efficiency, if you know what I mean. Having worked in government, part of the thing is you're not necessarily the most efficient thing, but you have quality in depth. Because things can go swimmingly for months, years, but whenever something happens, you need to be able to do what people expect of you, to protect their safety, etc. And I have a bad feeling about this. I was at the gym this morning, which of course sounds like nothing. There was an armed robbery in Clayton at the corner of Pershing and Central. We do not have a moat around this town. And something like that, or a number of things, could happen at any time. And I think that we need to have a review, possibly, of some of the protocols for the police department so that these things can happen.
Okay.
It was concerned also that our police station is not even a safe place for kids because there's nobody there. And with that, I will go away and leave you alone.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you for hearing
Fletcher.
me.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to respond to that. I was contacted by one of the residents at Hanley Station last week, and she had asked me to attend an emergency HOA meeting, and so I reached out to our police department. So I attended, as did our police chief, as did Major Simpson, and as did Lieutenant Todd Lambert. Both alder people tried to be there. The security, believe it or not, it's kind of hard to get in. Alderwoman Goad was able to get in, Alderwoman Sims was not able to get in. But the city was there in force to listen to the HOA and to see if we had any suggestions, or if our police department had any suggestions. So I just wanted to let you know, because I wasn't sure if you were aware that we did get that, and we responded to hear about that. And I think our police department provided them with some suggestions that maybe they could take to address some of this. As far as your concerns about the other policing issue, I can assure you, our police department, it is CALIA certified, which is the gold standard across the country. And it just received that certification a few years ago, and it was recertified, I think, last year on the CALIA certification. In addition to that, we had an organization from Washington, D.C., I believe it was, come and take a look at our whole entire department in 2016, 2017 to review everything, the proper staffing, et cetera, and they came up with 77 recommendations. And I'm happy and very proud to say that we complied with all 77 of those recommendations. So we do hear those things, and we try to make changes and just to ensure safety of the public. So again, thank you again for taking your time to show up tonight. Anybody else in the public care to address the board? Okay, then we will move on to mayor and alderman reports. First up is, well, I'm not listed there, so I'm going to skip me. Mayor Dimmitt doesn't have a report. Alderman Plufka.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Committee, which takes up issues like public safety, like safety in our neighborhoods and things like that, we meet once a month, and we're meeting this Wednesday on the 23rd at 5:30 in this chamber.
Alderwoman Tice.
Good evening. The next Ways and Means Committee meeting for August will be on Thursday, the 7th at 6 p.m. here in the chambers.
Thank you. Alderwoman Sims.
No report.
Alderwoman Goad.
No report. Thank you.
Alderman Lockmuller.
The next Public Works Committee meeting will be on a Thursday, August 14th at 6:30 right here. We've been taking a deep dive into the proposal by staff to adopt the 2024 building codes for the last couple of meetings. Staff has had a meeting back earlier this month where they invited developers in to give their 2 cents worth on what they think about it. We've taken that into account, so we're going to discuss it one more time. We've heard from police and fire about their concerns, and then we will forward it on to the board where it will have a 90-day review period, and then at the end of the year, vote on whether to adopt those codes in 2026.
So those will be effective, if it all works time-wise, those will be effective starting 26.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Gould.
Yes, we have a scheduled Ward 3 meeting next Tuesday, but we decided to take the unique opportunity that it's so close to the National Night Out, which is the following Tuesday on August 5th. So in lieu of a ward meeting at the rec center, we're going to do something different, and we're hosting a National Night Out block party along Rogers Parkway. We're blocking off Mary Avenue from Litzinger to Joseph. And Steve and I will host a little booth and have residents of Ward 3 come visit us. We'll have some hot dogs and maybe even raffle for some prizes. So come and join us at the National Night Out and then learn a little bit more about what's going on with Ward 3.
Thank you. Alderman Nerger.
Brentwood Forest has their next board meeting at 6 p.m. next Tuesday, the 29th. Thank you.
Thank you. And Alderwoman Harder.
No report.
Okay, that brings us down to City Administrator report. I guess first up, the only item I think is just the presentation of the design guidelines.
So tonight we have the presentation from H3 Studio on the residential design guidelines. We've been working on this for almost a year, and the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of adoption. However, they are the adopting entity for any plans as a comprehensive plan. So we are here tonight to get your input, and then we will go back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for ultimate adoption. We do anticipate, we have started the commercial side, and we'll have to have that completed by the end of the year as well. So do you want me to?
Okay, thank you.
I've got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Whitney and board. My name is Tim Bryhan with H3 Studio. Pleased to be here tonight to give a kind of a summary presentation of the proposed residential design guidelines. Hold on. I'm going to back this up just so I can see the screen in my slides. So the purpose of the design guideline project is to develop both citywide residential architectural design guidelines for all residential properties within Brentwood, as well as commercial architectural design guidelines for Brentwood Boulevard south of Strassner Drive and the West Manchester corridor. And the guidelines are intended to achieve a couple of objectives. So first, to provide consistent direction to the ARB in the review and approval of projects. Secondly, to clearly define the review and approval process between what the ARB reviews and approves and what city staff can review and approve administratively. Thirdly, provide legal backup to the review and approval process decisions of ARB and city staff. Fourth, to clarify requirements and expectations of property owners and developers. And finally, to address persistent design review issues faced by city staff and the ARB when reviewing projects. Sorry, it's not working now. Whitney, I'm sorry, you may have to advance the slides for me, thanks. Sorry about the technical difficulties. So the development of the guidelines is being done through a community engagement process. We are working with a steering committee, and so specifically regarding the ARB, the residential guidelines, we've had 2 meetings for review and input plus independent review of the draft guidelines. We've also made informational presentations and had input sessions with the Sustainability Commission. 1 meeting with them. We've had 3 meetings with the Planning and Zoning Commission, one of which was the public hearing at last month's meeting, and we've also had an architectural 2 meetings with the Architectural Review Board, and then we had 1 public open house to gather review and feedback on the guidelines when they were in an earlier draft form. Next slide, please. So the project steering committee, just for information, are the folks listed here. I won't read everyone's name. Next, please. And so just to give a little bit of background again about what we're looking for in terms of or where these will be applicable to. So the residential will be applicable to both the single family A, single family B, attached single family and multifamily residential districts. And then the commercial guidelines will be applicable to the urban development district, as well as the general commercial district, and are intended to generally follow the same format as the architectural design guidelines that are currently in place for the MC Manchester Corridor District. Next slide, please. And so a couple of other things to keep in mind, particularly as they pertain to the residential guidelines. There are 3 subdivisions in the city currently, York Village, Whitehall, and the Park Ridge Addition subdivisions that have indentures and or deed restrictions that guide building design. In some cases, these are more strict than what is being proposed in terms of the residential design guidelines. But generally speaking, when administering residential design guidelines, whatever is the most strict will prevail. However, it is important to note, obviously, as you all know, that the city has no role in actually enforcing private subdivision indentures or deed restrictions. So that's sort of how those 2 things will work together. Next slide, please. And so in our engagement process relative to this project, some of the consensus issues and opportunities that emerge that this project is seeking to address include the fact that there currently is no defined checklist for residential building permit submittals, which increases difficulty and uncertainty in the review process. The ARB has indicated that they don't always feel that they are fully empowered to deny projects because of a lack of defined guidelines. Commercial projects are currently not required to be reviewed by ARB, but only by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The zoning code currently does not have a floor area ratio or FAR limit, which we'll talk about more in just a moment. It is expected that Brentwood will continue to experience teardowns and rebuilds of both commercial and residential properties, making the design guidelines all the more important. Currently, only replacement in kind and installation of solar panels can be administratively approved by staff for residential projects. So one of the goals is to open that up to reduce the load on the ARB. Subdivision indentures and deed restrictions are more restrictive, but again, there's no defined process for enforcement, and that is not the city's role to do that. And finally, it was indicated to us that there is a lack of clear direction about sustainable building systems and site treatments, and when and where these systems can be employed, things like solar panels and pervious pavement. So the design guidelines are intended to address that issue as well. Next slide, please. So now what I'd like to do is to go through basically the organization and contents of the final draft residential design guidelines. I will be touching specifically on several specific elements, but a lot of this is just going to be looking at the content as opposed to, or sort of the content headings as opposed to the detail of each guideline as we go through.
Hey, Tim,
next
if I could
slide,
interrupt
please.
you just
Yes,
for a
of
second.
course.
Just for planning purposes, because we have some people we expect to show up a little bit later tonight.
Yes.
Any idea how long you think this is going to last?
Probably another 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
5 to 7 minutes, I guess.
All right. We're fine then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next slide, please. So the guidelines start out with a section on the purpose and administration, outlining the overall objective, which again is not to prescribe specific architectural styles, materials, or required details, but to encourage and facilitate home design that is compatible with existing homes around them. The applicability in terms of the administration of the guidelines, they will apply to all projects that require a building permit. So if an improvement does not require a building permit, it would not be subject to the guidelines. The Architectural Review Board review is set forth referencing the Code of Ordinances, but again, we have specific language stating that the private subdivision indentures may impose additional restrictions, but that is, the city possesses no authority to enforce those. Next slide, please. And then the administrative review then outlines, or the administration section then outlines those projects which can be administratively reviewed by city staff. So that includes open air structures without roofs, manufactured sunrooms and screened porches, and any other additions not visible from the public right-of-way, but meeting the following conditions: that it is not fully enclosed and air-conditioned, does not have a full foundation, and is less than 200 square feet in area. And then there are specific requirements to ease that administrative review process about the submittal. So full elevations of all existing building facades have to be submitted from which the addition would be visible, and a roof plan showing the intersection of the addition with the roof of the existing building. And then the Department of Planning and Development always has the option to refer any project to ARB for review. Next slide, please. So then the next section is architectural design principles, and this goes through sort of general examples or general concepts that are detailed in the design guidelines. So that includes statements about roof forms, front garages, which is a particular issue. So specifying that the front garages cannot, the total width of all garage doors should not be more than 40% of the total width of the front facade, and that the garage entrance may be flush or set back from the front facade, but may not protrude forward of the front facade. Next slide, please. And then principles about provision of window and door trims in all buildings, porch design, which should be compatible and harmonious with the style of the home, and specifying particular details and finish requirements for front porches. Next slide, please. Requirements that buildings have eaves that are compatible and harmonious with the design of the home, freeze bands which are encouraged and to help to articulate the horizontal elements of the facade. And then next slide, please. Sills and water tables are encouraged and that they should generally align with those alignments on neighboring buildings. Next slide, please. So then it moves into the guidelines proper. So starting with new home massing and placement, there is a section on garages dealing with side and rear access garages and front access garages separately. Could you go back one? Sorry. And then building massing and configuration, so orientation, height, street-facing facades, corner lots, entrances, roof forms, and floor area ratio. And I'll get to that at the end. Next slide, please. Then a section on additions to existing homes. So additions that are part of the side or rear facades have one set of guidelines. Additions that put a second story onto a home are treated separately. And then finally, additions that are part of the street-facing facade, which would have the most stringent guidelines because they're the most visible. Next slide, please. Then a section on architecturals and details and features, which includes windows, doors, porches, decks, architectural details, and utility services and mechanical equipment. Next slide, please. And then a section on materials. So this is divided into permitted materials, prohibited materials, and other materials. Other materials being those that would be subject to approval by ARB once in order to be used. One thing to note here, in the previous draft, we had indicated that vinyl siding would be in the other materials category. However, based on feedback at the ARB public hearing, that vinyl siding was moved to the permitted materials. That was at the request, I'm sorry, not ARB, Planning and Zoning Commission. That was at the request of Planning and Zoning. Next slide, please. And then requirements or guidelines for materials for buildings on corner lots, material transitions between a street-facing facade and a side or rear facade. So for instance, if you have brick on the front, siding on the sides, how much does that brick have to wrap around? And then exemptions for material requirements for prefabricated structures. Next slide, please. And then site features and landscaping, so that includes guidelines on retaining walls, fences, and significant trees. Next slide, please. And then the final thing that the guidelines incorporate are recommendations for zoning code amendments. So if you could go to the next slide, please, Whitney. So this came out of feedback that we received during the process that are things that are not actually applicable to design guidelines, but that were concerns that residents raised about particular aspects of building design, which are really part of the zoning code. So there are several zoning code amendments that are being recommended to be taken up as a separate piece once the guidelines are adopted. That includes for looking at front yard setbacks in both the A and B single-family residential district, maintaining the minimum front yard setback as it stands today of 25 feet, with the exception that if the neighboring properties are greater than 25 feet, that the new building that would be being built in between them would basically have to be the average of the front yard of those two neighboring buildings plus or minus 2 feet. So the idea there being that where while the 25 feet is the minimum, if a lot of the buildings on the street are set back, we want to encourage a new building to be set back to roughly match that line. That would apply to both A and B residential. And then also for A and B residential, we are proposing that the driveway width for front access garages be increased to a maximum of 48 inches wider than the door as opposed to 24 inches wider than the garage door. And that was based on specific feedback that we received about particularly where there are retaining walls on the side of the driveway that the code does not provide enough width that one can park and open their car door necessarily. So those are recommended zoning code updates that came out of the process. And then the last slide, I'm sorry, one more if you could please. Dealing with floor area ratio. So as you may know, floor area ratio is a calculation where you take the total occupiable floor area of a building, sometimes with exceptions like you might omit a garage, for example, and you divide it by the total area of the lot, and this is done as a means to limit building size. There were questions that came up during the process about should a floor area ratio be either incorporated as part of the zoning code or as part of the design guidelines. It is our recommendation that it is better to limit building size by dimensional standards in both the zoning code and the design guidelines because the dimensional standards are predictable, they result in predictable forms, whereas FAR limits do not necessarily result in predictable building forms. So we are not recommending the establishment of an FAR limit, but if the city would wish to implement those in the future, that should be done as a zoning code text amendment and not as part of the architectural design guidelines themselves. So that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Tim. When I spoke with Whitney a few years ago about pursuing this, it was after some meetings with some residents who were concerned about lack of consistency. And it was also after talking to members of the ARB who felt somewhat overwhelmed. And as you acknowledged or pointed out, you know, some did they feel like they had the power to take certain things? So my goal was to, at the end of this, come up with something that does provide some guidance, some predictability, and also to lessen the load on the ARB. And everything that you went through, it sounds, you know, at first blush, it may seem somewhat cumbersome, or what the city's involved in, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those are all things that the ARB would have considered anyway.
Yes, absolutely. And that was really part of the process. And obviously there are members of the ARB that are on the steering committee for the project that have been instrumental in formulating these. And really the goal was to take all of what they have sort of as knowledge, you know, knowledge that they hold in their brains as professionals and formalize that into a set of guidelines so that if, you know, with changeover of the ARB in the future, or bringing the city staff on for more review, that everyone's operating on a consistent basis.
And these guidelines, can you classify them as requirements, or are they simply a starting point?
So they are not, and this would be true of any architectural guideline. If it is a guideline, it is advisory only. Ultimately, now the authority comes into the fact that building permits can be denied or, you know, not approved if the guidelines are not being sufficiently met. However, it's not like a zoning code amendment where you would have to go to the Board of Adjustment. The appeal process for denial of a building permit is a much lower bar. And the ARB was very clear that, you know, they don't see this or want to use this as a way of denying projects. They want to use it as a tool to help improve applications that come through.
So it does provide the consistency that I was looking for. And secondly, because we do allow some new administrative review of some of these items, it is also lessening the burden of the ARB.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions?
I think I have one.
Yeah, Alderman Lockmiller.
Just one jump into the weeds here.
Yeah.
Regarding additions,
Yes.
if you have a home that's all brick,
Yes.
does a guideline recommend, I guess I'll say, that the addition be all brick?
No, it does not. It does not. So what it does do is it does. So if you have a copy of it, for instance, on page 9, talking about materials, this would be additions part of the side or rear facades. It says additions should be finished in material that either matches or is subordinate to the materials of the existing home. So a brick or siding addition would be appropriate to a brick home, but a brick addition would not be appropriate to a siding, a home with siding on the existing home. And then it does also state that if the material is different, the addition is different than that of the existing building, that there has to be some a plane change or some other transition to make that look architecturally attractive. And so again, it's a lot of it is guidelines. There's a lot of interpretation that is permitted to the ARB in the review. And that's sort of the point, is it's to say, okay, these are things that the ARB would want to see in an application. If the application is not meeting those sufficiently, here's ways that the application could be improved to begin to meet those guidelines.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, Alderman Gould.
And just for clarification, that material transition you're talking about is on page 16? Is that what you're referring to?
There's page 9, that's dealing with additions to additions part of the side and or rear facades, and then in terms of additions to street facing facade, that's on the next page, on page 10.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then as it relates to the guidelines, you had mentioned that the recommended zoning code amendments, those, I guess, because this is a draft, those are included, but the final version of this would not include those, because those are taken up separately, is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So those would be, so we'll be providing that language to city staff for use in the future.
And those will go before the Planning and Zoning Commission first, and then if they all get a recommendation, they would go to Public Works Committee. Is that correct? How would we take up those potential zoning?
I don't believe it
changes.
goes to the Public Works. It would just be the Planning and Zoning Commission as a text amendment.
And then it would come to the board
Then it would
for-
come to the board for your approval.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure, because it was included in the
Yeah.
guidelines, but
So part of our direction to Tim was we wanted to see about what are those things that we felt staff would be able to approve and make those recommended text amendments
sure.
for us to carry forward once this gets adopted.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Alderman Gould, sorry.
Thank you, Mr.
Had a
Mayor.
Gould and a Goad, it's hard.
We're waiting for it to happen.
Yes.
Quick question on page 8 on the height section. So it's within 1 feet of those on one existing neighboring home on each side. What would happen for the second-story additions? This doesn't prohibit second-story additions. It just encourages them not to go to 3-story addition. Help me understand that a little bit better.
Well, so let me address that, and then he can address that first. So what we've been seeing is if you have an adjacent home that's a ranch style, the height roof might be 9 feet. We've seen homes that have come in where the first floor is 10, then the second floor, or 12, and then the second floor is another 11, which the complaint is that's overpowering the neighborhood and the adjacent properties.
Okay.
So this is an effort to address essentially what FAR might have tried to, but this provides greater context in the built form. So.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, it's really looking at sort of each floor, each story of the house being roughly the same height as the neighboring buildings.
Perfect,
yes.
thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay, what's the timeline on this? If you want to, you're not asking for any action from the board.
Well, if you'd like to, if you'd like to provide,
Input up to when?
we would take this back at the August 13th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. We will move on then to the consent agenda. Do we have any questions about any item on the consent agenda or any request to remove therefrom? If not, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice?
Yes.
Alderwoman Goad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder?
Yes.
Alderman Erger?
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. That brings us to old business, of which we have none. And so new business, first up is bill number 6561. Can we get a first read by title only, please?
Bill number 6561, an ordinance amending subsection E2 of section 400.1375 of Article 3 of Chapter 400 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Brentwood to allow for business schools and computer and management training with computer training facilities as a conditional use in the MC Manchester Corridor District.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions? This is the text amendment change that we talked about, the first public hearing. No questions? Okay. Yes, Alderman Tice.
Well, I don't have a question, I just sort of have a comment about this, if that's.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Now's the time to do it. Oh, well, I guess actually first let's take a.
Oh, we need to do a first read, so.
Yeah, we did the first read on
Okay.
that.
Motion for second read.
Well, I guess, so there's down here request for a first and second tonight. Who's making that request? Is that the applicant or is that us? Applicant? So if the applicant would just come to the podium there, I've got a question about, just typically way we do bills, we have to have a first and second read, and we usually stagger them, meaning we do the first read at one meeting and a second read at the subsequent meeting. That allows residents an opportunity to contact their elected officials in the intervening time between the two meetings, and for aldermen to do some more homework if they want to. Occasionally, we do have a first and second read at the same meeting. That might be simply a discretionary matter that the city is asking for, or it may be something for some reason the applicant wants us to take it up in both the first and second read. So there's a request from you for a second read, and I'm asking you, what is the reason for that?
Mayor, that's completely understandable. And my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, all the meetings that we've had before the Planning and Zoning Commission was also open to the public. If there was objection from the city of Brentwood residents, would they not have had the opportunity to make that objection clear? Because in the three meetings we've had, two were public, one was a private, Whitney, what was that called?
Gunnar, could I make a point?
Sorry, it was
Site plan review? was
yeah,
it?
it was 3 meetings at Site Plan Subcommittee, 2 meetings at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the Site Plan Subcommittee in between.
Okay, I think we have a point of order by Alderman Plufko.
Yeah, isn't this more appropriate to 11B? When we're talking about the CUP itself, this is the text amendment, I believe.
Well, I think, wasn't the text amendment taken up at P and Z?
Well, it was, but I don't know why this applicant
The
necessarily.
applicant was the one who submitted the proposal for the text amendment. So it's not coming from the city. The applicant actually submitted for the text amendment.
So,
But it's as to the general for the whole property is.
But because it is the applicant that's making the request for the second read, I think it'd be a good idea to hear from the applicant what the reason for that, to deviate from our normal practice. What we've heard is that, number one, it's already been subject to open meetings, and I'm assuming also the second reason would be timing is of the essence, because we don't have 2 meetings a month. We have, during the summer, we only have 1 meeting. So instead of waiting till the third week in August, you'd like to have this taken care of now.
Understood. And again, sorry, Whitney. Yeah, the other reason being, and it is, how do I put this? We've been pretty compliant with the city's requests. I take responsibility for not being familiar with this sort of application.
And again, let me just interrupt. This is solely about the text amendment. That's all I'm asking. I know it sounds, it's a legal reason we do it this way. So, so the reason you're asking for a second read, a first and second read tonight is because it's already been discussed and open. And again, I'm assuming timing-wise, you'd like to have this decided
And
tonight.
again, we've signed the lease on February 1st of a 2-year lease. And the Russos are,
okay,
they want to get this running. They've put a lot of time and money into this as well. And yeah, I mean, the timing is right.
Okay.
A lot of people are really demanding to know about what we provide.
Okay, so with that being the case, anybody care to make a motion for a second read of this matter tonight? Alderman Lockmiller.
So moved.
Second on that.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Alderman Lockmiller.
Well, my reason for a second read tonight is if the text amendment doesn't pass, then the CUP is mute.
Right.
So I think we owe it to the applicant, with the number of meetings he's been at through planning and zoning, to at least give him that favor and go ahead and decide the text amendment tonight. To speak to the text amendment, if you look at MC district zoning under the Class C, the only retail permitted use is office, professional office space. Everything else is under a conditional use. I think if we could add this as a conditional use for educational purposes, this type of use, I think it would make, open up more opportunities in that area for smaller parcels, especially on the north side that abut residential areas. So I would be in favor of the text amendment.
Okay, did we have a second on the motion for, okay, thank you. Okay, any other discussion? That's all right. Any other discussion on the motion for a second read tonight? Yes, Alderman Tice, thank you.
I'm fine with the second, I guess we're just doing second read.
Just a
but
second read.
I'm fine with the second read.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion for a second read? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, can we get a second read by title only, please?
Bill number 6561, an ordinance amending subsection E2 of section 400.1375 of Article 3 of Chapter 400 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Brentwood to allow for business schools and computer and management training with computer training facilities as a conditional use in the MC Manchester Corridor District.
Okay. Open up for discussion then on passage of Bill number 6561. We have any comments, any questions? Yes, Alderman Tice.
So to
Eventually, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess I differ from Alderman Lockmuller. I don't necessarily think this is a good addition to the MC corridor. I don't really think when the MC corridor was envisioned that having business schools that offer secretarial and stenographic skills, including word processing, computer training, and short duration courses were really the concept that the city was looking for in the Manchester corridor. So I'm not in favor of this text amendment.
Thank you. Anybody else? Not Chair would entertain a motion to perfect Bill number 6561 in ordinance form.
I'll make a motion that we perfect Bill 6561 in ordinance form.
Second.
Discussion? I'm sorry, yes.
I would recommend that, as far as this text amendment goes, you know, I think we need to allow for the ability, as Alderman Lockmuller had said, the evolution of businesses that we may not be able to foresee. And this type of business, you know, for example, you know, potentially I could see businesses coming online that help train people how to create content and use AI to their advantage and on all the tools that are being developed. That's not something that I think is a reason to exclude them out of this. I think this text amendment allows for that flexibility and ability to bring in new innovation to the district. And I agree that the vision of it was, you know, retail and shops and more pedestrian friendly. I think this, if we have some potential of multifamily in there and other, this allows for businesses like that to exist and actually serve the community. So I do think the text amendment is a good text amendment.
Anybody else? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice?
No.
Okay. Alderwoman Goad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder?
Yes.
Alderman Erger?
Yes.
By a vote of 7-1, Bill 6561 will become ordinance number something that I will tell you later.
Okay, thank you very much. That brings us down to the second item, in a sense, and that is Bill number 6562. Can we get a first read by title only, please?
Bill number 6562, an ordinance authorizing a new conditional use permit and site development plan for Bitcoin Benz Crypto Club, BBCC, Technology Education Center, a computer training facility at 8513 Manchester Road in the MC Manchester Corridor District.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? And yes, Alderman Gould.
I'm sorry. I do have one question on the pass-through. You had mentioned that the CUP would be needed to have a cut-through to Ruth, is that right, in the back?
So, yes, the properties in the back already have a drive-through to cut through to Ruth. So we've required as part of the CUP that a legally provided cross-access agreement be provided. So in case any of those the Ruth properties are sold to a separate entity, then the
Okay.
cross-access is still there.
Okay, and so that, I went and looked at the site, and there is, you know, several buildings along there, and then they're, in the front, they're divided by a barrier. We're not recommending that we're removing that as well, or is that?
Correct, that was a different property
That would
owner.
eliminate some of the parking in front? Or,
Yeah. We did not look at the front part. It was the cross-access along the back. Since
Okay.
all of those properties are owned by one entity or the current
Currently.
property owner. The other property is actually a separate parcel and a different property owner. And because of the tight parking on that parcel, I did not recommend
In the
creating
front.
that, creating it in the front.
all right, that's, I just wanted to make sure I understood the cross-access location. Okay.
Alderman Plufka.
Can I ask you, do you know, I don't see it anywhere in the CUP. I mean, I'm looking in the wrong place, but what are the hours of operation for this?
10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sorry, it should have been in there.
It probably is, I just missed it.
Anything else?
No, that's it. Sorry.
Alderwoman Goode.
Thank you.
I have a question about parking. So it's an educational facility. It's mostly online. Was I correct in reading? I believe it was no more than 10 people on site at any time. How confident are we in that number, particularly thinking about overflow into the neighborhood? If
Alderman Goode, this is a guesstimate based on traffic at our previous clubs. I've been to the clubs in Nashville and Sarasota a number of times. I've visited the Vegas club at its opening. I've never seen more than 10 people there. Occasionally, we will offer a class, but it wouldn't be for a classroom of 30 people. We don't have the room or for the facilities to do that. Again, when we're a member of one club, we're a member of all of them. They have complete online access. A lot of our members are not going to be from the St. Louis area. In fact, I already have a membership from West Virginia, I believe. There's nobody near them. So as far as high traffic, I'm not going to say it's impossible to ever have more than 10 people there. For example, at our ribbon cutting or our grand opening, I hope the heck we have more than 10 people there. But that would be a one-off sort of thing. So
and you'll have enough parking to accommodate those 10 on site?
there is, between the side of the building, the front of the building, and the back, I believe there will, yeah. 17 spaces, thank you. By the way, this is the Russo's Michelle. Michelle, I did it again, Teresa. From day one, I've called her by her daughter's name.
Any other questions? Alderman Tice?
So I also have a similar question about parking, and I can't find, I'm still getting used to this new diligent thing, so I can't find my reference, but there was a reference to, in section 1 and 4, I think maybe of the memo that you did for the planning and zoning, about if there were too many cars, you would have agreements with other businesses. And I've seen that not really work in other places in Brentwood. So I guess, are you really confident that you won't have more than, 17 people there at any one time that will overflow into the neighborhood?
Outside of the grand opening, I don't see how we could possibly accommodate that. Right now, it's just going to be me at the building. And even though I'm talking to roughly a dozen people now, it's more of a group setting rather than one-on-one. Okay. So we probably don't have the facilities or the ways to accommodate that kind of group.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right.
Anybody else? Alderman Lockmuller.
Could I ask Whitney a question? Through our development agreement down there, has our developer been notified of this and have any?
I did notify the developer. He did not have any concerns at this time, and any future redevelopment of this site, he would have to coordinate or negotiate that with the tenant and the property owner.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Alderman Erger.
Out of curiosity, what's the primary revenue generator of the business? It's a for-profit business, correct?
We are actually a nonprofit organization. Our ownership is a decentralized one. Nobody can own more than 2%. Husband and wife can own 4% of the building. Each one of our clubs is independently owned. And I could speak for myself. We did this not necessarily as a money-generating endeavor, but to help spread the word, because I, as an individual, firmly believe that blockchain and cryptocurrency benefits everybody. And if you say the B word or the C word around me, be prepared to spend an hour with me. People I work with at the airport know that's going to happen. So yes, it is a nonprofit organization is the way it was filed. It is a private membership association. And any revenues is primarily from individual and corporate memberships.
Okay. And to clarify those,
consultations, that sort of thing.
and that's in exchange for educational purposes, or would it technically be advice, like financial advice?
We are definitely not financial advisors. We make that
Okay.
very clear in every one of ours. I used to have my Series 65 investment advisor's license. I learned early on that wasn't anything that, I just had some misconceptions about what that was all about, but it's not relevant here. Yeah, primarily for, hanging around like-minded people, learning from them. Hey, what do you think of, such and such, crypto, things like that. So have I answered your question? I kind of feel like I veered off.
Yeah, I was just curious as to how they were generating revenue, and why, Edward Jones provides financial advice, and I would think that would fall into the office category, and why we're differentiating this. So just wanted to clarify that addresses
Yeah,
it.
if you look at our groups, our podcasts and such, we say on almost every one, this is not financial advice. This is for informational, some entertainment, and educational purposes only.
Anybody else? You have a number of these across the countries?
We do. We were supposed to be number 4. That's why we filed as BBCC4.
Okay.
Bitcoin Bend Crypto Club is a little long.
And have there been any complaints about any of those facilities that you?
To my knowledge, no, but Mr. Semchi would be better equipped to address that.
Okay.
What type of?
Anything?
Every Friday, we have a meeting with the other, what we call the owner-operators. I should say that, yeah, that's for all the owners, including the minority owners. And then we have what's called owner-operators. I'm an owner-operator of the St. Louis Club. We have a meeting every Tuesday. I've never heard any concerns like
Okay.
that. So.
Okay. And Whitney, real quick for you. So there are a number of factors that the city considers in whether or not to grant a conditional use permit, right?
Correct.
And those were all discussed at the planning and zoning level?
Correct.
And their conclusion was that all of those conditions have been satisfied, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and those have all been communicated to the board?
Yes.
Okay, great. And finally, Mr. Garland, you are asking for a second read for this item as well tonight, right?
I'll just nod.
No, yeah, I need you to come on up here, just so it gets on the record, and you're asking for a second read, and the reasons would be the same as that you gave for the
For
first.
the reasons we expressed
Okay,
before.
thank you. So with that, Chair would entertain a motion for a second read of Bill number 6562.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes, I'm opposed.
Thank you. With that, Mr. City Attorney, could we get, and by the opinion of the chair, the motion carries. Mr. City Attorney, can we get a second read of Bill number 6562 by title only, please?
Bill number 6562, an ordinance authorizing a new conditional use permit and site development plan for Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club, BBCC, Technology Education Center, a computer training facility at 8513 Manchester Road in the MC Manchester Corridor District.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to perfect Bill number 6562 in ordinance form.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Yes, Alderman Plufka.
I think it's a mistake that we're not taking a month to between reads and staggering the reads in this case. I'm not necessarily opposed to this CUP personally or in any way related to the actual use. I just believe that we should be in the habit of staggering reads like this, and I'm disappointed that we're not going to do that. I'm also disappointed. I understand that they're going to have to comply with our signage, and I did look online to the Sarasota and I think Plano, Texas, and I believe Las Vegas, the signage that you could get in pictures online, and they don't seem, those buildings don't seem like the signage that's incorporated there would necessarily violate any of our ordinances. I don't anticipate there being necessarily any problems. I'm prepared to vote for this, in favor of this tonight, but I just think that it's important that we sometimes consider slowing things down just a little bit. I mean, it's not, with all due respect to the applicant, they're not knowing of our process or having delays built into this point. I'm sympathetic to what they're going through, but I don't think that should speed up our process necessarily. We should still be deliberative as we consider these things, and I think it's a mistake to do this all in one night. That being said, I like the landscape plan. I'm disappointed that there's no signage plan, but as I say, I don't think that there's no examples that I could see online, at least, that would alarm me. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Lockmiller.
I would tend to agree with Alderman Plufka on not speeding things along, but this process started a long time ago with them at P&Z, the first meeting of which was lack of quorum. So that delayed them even further. And the fact that we're in our summer schedule, another 30 days, they would have to languish out there for a decision. I think in this case, it's basically a lease. They're not building a building. We have the owners of the property being long-term residents and been trying to find occupants for this location. So I'm in favor of the CUP.
Mr. City Attorney, we had a hand up by the applicant. Is it still hear from the applicant or not?
It's your meeting, so if you,
Sure.
if you want to hear from the applicant, go ahead.
Why don't you come on down?
I just wanted to further address the question regarding signage. You may or may not be familiar with the a signage company in Brentwood called Fast Signs. I've already been in contact with them. They told me the rules on signage, and we don't have any reason to buck that. Now, seeing the other websites, the other clubs, I will say that perhaps the Las Vegas club might not be what you're picturing, and I totally understand that. The Las Vegas club is what's called the Arts District in Las Vegas, and pretty much anything goes. We could not be more disparate from that club in our appearance. We're not a McDonald's franchise. We're not a cookie cutter. So our facility here looks completely different from Brentwood, looks completely different from Vegas, but there should be no reason for concern with violating the signage rights restrictions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, we are now voting on the motion to perfect into ordinance form. Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice?
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder?
Yes.
Alderman Erger?
Yes.
By a vote of 8-0, Bill 6562 will become an ordinance.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mr. Garland. We're all done. All right, that brings us down to Bill number 6563. Can we get a first read by title only, please?
Bill number 6563, an ordinance authorizing a new conditional use permit and site development plan for Brew Crew LLC to operate a 7-brew coffee business with drive-through facility at the Schnucks Shopping Center at 8828 Manchester Road in the GC General Commercial District.
Thank you. Whitney?
So, as we said earlier, this is a new conditional use permit. They are not creating a separate outlot. This is a redevelopment, a partial redevelopment of this whole site. Therefore, they are including additional landscaping throughout the parking lot to match the landscaping that the 7-brew will be around the 7-brew. Also, there was a lot of discussion on the parking and the stacking of through the drive-through. They've reoriented it from a north-south orientation to more of an east-west that allows for 23 cars to navigate through the drive-throughs. This was the preferred option at MoDOT, and it does require your approval of the variance for the parking. However, CBB did provide that they felt that there was sufficient parking on the site, and they had approval from the Chinooks as well.
Okay, so Chinooks is in favor of this?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Alderman Gould.
It doesn't, I can't really tell. I know there was a lot of discussion about the right-in, right-out, and whether or not, I mean, obviously our philosophy along Manchester and MoDOT's philosophy is to eliminate as many curb cuts and entries as possible so that you reduce the potential for vehicle collisions and accidents. I can't really tell, does this new orientation provide a closure of that, or is that still open?
That is still open. That was a discussion with CBB. However, we cannot force the property owner to close off that intersection, and he felt that that was strictly a discretionary discussion since with the property owner and the applicant. But it is still remaining open.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my biggest concern about this is traffic potential issues. You know, if I presume that if they think there's a market for another drive-through coffee location, we've got one, seems like every couple hundred feet. I presume that the market would have it. I'm mostly concerned about, you know, the intersection in that we have, you know, if you're heading eastbound on Manchester, I'm sorry, westbound on Manchester, you either turn in on Brentwood and then use the light to get around, or you're going to be forced to try to get over really quickly to make a left turn onto Collier. That potentially could start backing up traffic on heavy days or special events. That I could see the intersection being a problem for potential collisions. So I have that concern, and then the right in, right out also is somewhat of a concern. Again, if traffic starts backing up to get turned in, and they're using the right in, right out, not Collier, that could block Collier and then create another bottleneck for people trying to make a left onto Collier. So there's some concerns of traffic that I'd love to hear from our consultant on how that was studied and mitigated.
Yes. So the applicants, and there's a drawing in your packet that did include that should traffic start backing up, they would reroute the stacking through the parking lot and stack in the drive aisle just south of the Manchester Road to bring them in. But it is providing a significant number of cars through the stacking lanes as they are. So I'll let CBB.
Rerouting, what does rerouting mean?
They would have staff out there directing the traffic, is what they've indicated.
Meaning blocking the right in, right out, or?
Not blocking it, but just directing people around the parking lot. But I'll let the applicant speak on that, or the CBB.
But that's,
I think we'd like to hear from CBB.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The clarity I need, it's fine to say, we'll route people in. I'm concerned more about the main arterials and the traffic potential backups where they can't control routing. They're not going to have police officers out there routing traffic in our streets, so.
Yeah, and the number of cars that are, I'm sorry, I'm sure it's in there somewhere, all the information. The number of cars that are expected within an hour, I don't know if the applicant, if you have that information, or if you have that.
We have that.
Okay, great.
Good evening. I'm Sean White with CBB. Lee is in the keys. So I'm here on his behalf to answer any questions. So yes, I guess the idea that traffic would back out onto Manchester Road has to do with, the only way that would happen is if the queues from the drive-through were to completely overflow and back out onto Manchester Road. So, in the study that we provided, based on, a number of which the trips were here was 104 trips in 1 hour in the morning that would come in and go out, so 104 people coming through the drive-through. And by comparison, if I was to use ITE data, ITE numbers would only come up with 45. So we're using almost 2.5 times that number based on transactional data that was provided by 7Brew to come up with a better number, a more, I'm not going to call it a worst case number, but like an 85th percentile type number, where it's something that, most occurrences would be less than that. So from that number, then we can, when they tell us their service times, we can calculate what the anticipated queue will be. So based on their service times of 30 to 45 seconds, we use the longer 45 seconds to calculate that. And, it shows that the storage in those lanes might, on average, be around 4. So the idea that it would be 23, a couple of things would have to happen. They have free event days, they have special days where, potentially there's, 150 people that try and come in an hour, or maybe they have, someone doesn't show up to work that day and they're not, doing their normal service time of 30 to 45 seconds. If it's taking a minute, instead of 30 to 45 seconds on average, yeah, there could, all the worst storm could happen and they could have more than 23. Now, in our experience, we've done a lot of studies for Panera, for Chick-fil-A, for Starbucks, for all of those, and we've done a lot of observations of queuing studies for all of those. We hardly ever, in all of our observations, see anything longer than 20 or 22 vehicles, because when it gets that long, most people are like, I'll get this instead, or I'll come back later, or most people don't want to wait that long. But we did make a recommendation in here that if they find that their free events are so immensely popular that they're queuing people out of Manchester Road, we recommended that they have, some type of an event, special event plan. So whether that's coning off the right and right out on a special event and directing everyone down to Brentwood to come and be the signal, or maybe they don't have a free event here. If it's a problem, you don't do it. So if that helped to answer your question or not.
I think that does
we
help.
don't see any issue of traffic
You don't,
queuing out of Manchester Road. I think
as
the
our traffic
likelihood of that
analysis, you don't find the concerns that I raised, you don't find them to be problematic.
I think it would be highly unlikely, again, that traffic would queue out onto Manchester Road. It would have to be because, like I said, their service times are way high. Again, I think if the traffic is backed all the way up 23 vehicles, someone's just going to pass on by. They're most likely not going to wait. We did look at crash data because I think the concern of the left turns at Collier. I think that's a fair concern to have because there's not a center turn lane along Manchester in this area to accommodate those lefts. We did reach out to MoDOT. They knew about the project. They reviewed the site plan. They liked the revised site plan. They made no reference or comment. They said they didn't need a study. They also made no reference to wanting to close that right in, right out or provide a left turn lane, as one's not there now. We looked at crash data at Collier's over a 10-year period, and there were, look back in here, I think there were maybe 8 left turn accidents, crashes, so that's about 1 a year, a left turn crash there. None of them were fatal. None of them were a major injury type crash. But
and then as far as the site plan you've got, it seems like beyond the footprint of what the proposed 7Brew is, there's a lot of new islands and landscaping that is proposed to be constructed throughout the whole parking lot. Is that correct? So Schnucks, presumably the Schnucks Center will lose some spaces, and then the right in, right out, that where people, myself included, will pull up and then just pull straight out to go to the right out. That is going to be now blocked off. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was to create a better flow through the site.
Okay.
And match the layout of the 7Brew for consistency of design, and is bringing the site further into compliance with the current regulations.
And Schnucks is good with all these?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And the dumpster's going on the parking lot?
Yeah, the dumpster is right south of the proposed 7 Brew.
Right,
Yeah, that
The
is
parking
for
lot.
the, yes.
okay. And CBB I have to ask, you do the review of the Starbucks on Brentwood? You weren't involved in that, right? That was St. Louis County.
I've heard lots of stories about it. I don't think a traffic study.
I couldn't help
was-
myself, I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure there was not one required for that because we would have definitely made comments. about
It's just another opportunity for us to say the city had nothing to do with that. That was all St. Louis County, and so.
Correct, and
'cause-
CBB did not do a study, we did
Right.
not provide input, or we would have been, I think we might have provided input on how to try to fix the mess that was there once it
Right,
was already
but
there.
pre-approving, yeah.
Yes.
Alderman Tice.
Could I ask Whitney a question about lighting? I know there was a little discussion about that at Planning and Zoning, but I think the only one I've driven by is the one at Olive and 170, and it's really bright blue.
Yes.
And I heard there was some discussion about turning it down, and you were reading our code about 40 watts. Well, 40 watts with LED would still be really bright. So
So-
was a resolution achieved, and what are we doing about that?
The blue is like the neon strip, which under the sign regulation is prohibited unless specifically reviewed as part of a comprehensive sign plan. So that was not, the draft ordinance specifies that they have to comply with the sign regulations. So it does exclude the neon blue with this application at this time. If they come back for a comprehensive sign plan, they would consider it at that time, and then we could look more specifically at that lighting.
Okay, so at this point, ours will look different than other 7 Brews because of the blue
Yes.
lighting not being present.
Right.
Okay, great, thank you.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Would it be all right to have the applicant come up?
Sure, absolutely. Applicant, if you would, just state your name, please.
Good evening. My name is Joe Rafferty. I live at 515 Great Oaks Meadow Drive in Wentzville, and I oversee operations for our franchise group in Missouri.
Thank you.
I just thought maybe you'd like to chime in since it's your business. We're hearing from everybody else but you.
No, absolutely. Everybody's doing a great job, so absolutely. A few things that have come up tonight, one being music volume. We have, in my region alone, I oversee 25 of these. They're in different locations, some back directly up to residential neighborhoods, some are in the middle of a parking lot in the middle of nowhere. The one U City's in parking lot in the middle of nowhere, so their music may be a little bit louder. I have one in Springfield that literally their backyard is residential across the board. We can change where the speakers point at, we can change the direction we go, we can change when we turn the music on, turn it off, the levels that it goes to, so that's all stuff we can deal with. Light plan, the one at U City, you can see from space, so I'll give you guys that one, that is fair. We do have different locations where we have shielding up on those lights to cover them, so all you'll see is like a neon glow straight down on the ground. You wouldn't have that same thing. I think that will be something that, we would have to work through like the sign package with and figure out what works. I can tell you each city has kind of different rules and regulations. I have 25 in my group. We have 2 kind of entities. We're well over 100 stands now, and every city and town has slightly different things that they ask for, so we are adaptable. We're willing to work with you guys. We want to be good for, the city, good for you guys. I think some of what we've gone through in planning and zoning, we completely reconfigured the whole site plan. We've reworked parking. We're willing to do all that additional landscaping through the parking lot, which hopefully if it passes, I think it'll look awesome over there. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
So I pull up for a cup of coffee. How does it work?
Absolutely. So we are a super fast-paced, basically coffee, drive-through only coffee shop. So we do coffee, we do energy drinks, we do smoothies, we do milkshakes, matcha, teas, and it's basically drinks only. So we're 2 lanes, so we're able to get people in and out very fast. We don't have any speaker boards or anything like that. We'll have employees out with iPads, taking orders, going from one car to the next. We have somebody at each lane having conversations with you. We have people inside the building that are making drinks and running them out. So basically, they'll bring them out to the car, hand it off, and you take off and go on your way. I can tell you, one of the metrics that we brought up, the 45-second time, is basically, you know, when you get to the lane and you drive off. Some of the other numbers we look at is basically from the second you take your order to when you leave. We average under 4 minutes with that. I can tell you, but some of our competitors are 12 to 15 minutes, I think is where they range. Won't name names, but it's a very fast-paced business. So for the business standpoint, we'll hire right around 60 to 70 employees. From the area, we're big on community, so we've done some things recently where we do an event called Caffeine for a Cause, and basically we'll partner with a local charity, kind of run a weekend of a Friday through Sunday of pay what you want, everybody comes through, we do all the donations, they go towards that charity. The most we brought in, this unfortunately was not mine, but different market, they brought in 15,000 over a weekend for charity, so we'll do events like that, partner with local organizations, things along those lines. So,
Alderwoman Goode.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question, is there an option for walk-up? So let's say I go to Schnucks, I do all my grocery shopping, I've parked nicely towards that exit to get onto Manchester Road.
Absolutely.
My preferred spot. Are there options for people to do a walk-up instead of having to move their car from spot 1 to spot 2 and create additional traffic?
100%, you can walk up. Yep, okay. We have a walk-up window. So on both sides of the standard, basically sliding doors, one is kind of it's not a service window, but it's where all the drinks will go out to go to the lane. The other window would be a walk-up window, basically. So if anybody wanted to walk up, they could walk up. We can take orders right there. To be honest with you, I'd say it's something% of our business. It's not a huge percent, but it's absolutely something we offer.
Anyone else? Alderman Lockmuller.
The traffic engineer. Was MoDOT consulted on this, and did they have any input?
Yes, they were consulted, and they provided comment back saying that they were not requiring an impact study. They didn't need anything to review. They did look at the original site plan and then some of the variations, and the one that is presented before you that they're moving forward with is the one that MoDOT liked the best. And they did not make any reference or request to having a concern about the right in, right out, or wanting it closed.
All right, thank you.
Alderman Harder.
What are your hours of operation?
So we're open Sunday through Thursday, 5:30 to 10 p.m., and Fridays and Saturdays, 5:30 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Anybody else? Well, you are asking for a second read. I'm hoping you heard me ask the other gentleman about the need for a second read tonight's meeting?
Yes, yes.
Same thing?
Our goal is the
timing?
same thing, to try and move this
Okay.
process along, if possible, and if that's okay.
With that, Chair, anybody want to make a motion for a second read for tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second for a second read. Any discussion on that motion? Yes, Alderman Gould.
I'm more convinced that it might be a good plan and a good, but in this particular case, which differs from the previous one, because of the potential of traffic impact, I think that it's behooving to us as a board to be able to hear from residents, and so especially since this is in Ward 3, I would like to be able to have a little bit more conversation with folks that shop there and make sure that from a traffic standpoint, they don't share the same concerns. I'm more convinced now than I was prior to the meeting, but I don't feel like, since this is a major construction, this is something that, we rush. So that's why I think I support your business, but I don't support the second reading tonight.
Any other discussion? Okay, so the motion is for a second read. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, Chair's opinion, we're going to need to take a voice vote on that.
A roll call.
Roll call, please, roll call when you get a chance, please.
Okay. Alderman Plufka.
No.
Alderwoman Tice.
No.
Alderwoman Goad.
No.
Alderwoman Sims.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderman Gould.
No.
Alderwoman Harder.
No.
Alderman Erger.
No.
Motion fails.
5-3?
1, 2, 3, yeah, 3, 4, 5.
5-3. 5 yea, 5 nays.
Or 2 to 5, 2 to 5 or whatever. or
Okay.
3 to 5. No. 1, 2,
6.
3,
How about
4,
6?
5,
6
6.
and 2.
Yes, 2 to 6.
6 nay,
count.
2 a, aye. So I'm sorry, the motion for a second read fails. So this will have a second read at the next meeting, which will be the third Monday in August. So thank you very
No, I
much.
appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
That brings us down to bill number, bill number 6564. Can we get a, excuse me, first read by title only, please?
Yes, Bill number 6564, an ordinance authorizing a new conditional use permit and site development plan for Good Clean Dog, dog grooming services with drive-up facility within the building at 1234 Hanley Industrial Court in the LI Light Industrial District.
Thank you. What was the former business in this location? I'm sorry. You could come introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jen Stewart,
Okay.
the Director of Operations for Good Clean Dog. It was previously a research lab.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any questions for either Whitney or the applicant? You are asking for a second read also for tonight? And if you could, let me guess why. Time?
Yeah, we have a second lease that we have a lease that we are currently occupying that is up towards the end of the year. So we would love to be able to get in under construction. We have a GC who can complete the build by the end of the year. So for that reason, we are submitting a separate signage package. So I will be back in front of you guys in a couple of months anyway. But if we could submit for building permitting in August, that would be ideal.
I just want to make sure it's a drive-up, not a drive-through facility.
Correct.
You don't
And
drop dog
the
off through
one
window or-
clarification there that will really help, we're talking about 105 cars a day, including morning and drop-off. So it is a very low traffic from a
Okay.
car perspective.
Wonderful.
I'll just add, she explained at the Planning and Zoning Commission that this is, people can drop off their dog by going in, but this would be an option for a monthly membership base where they could pull up and people would be coming out to get the dog and go back in immediately without them having to get out of the car. So it's, would you say it would be about half the traffic?
So because we're a new concept, I can't guarantee what percentage of our customer base will use the drive-up option. We expect it'll be probably more like 80% of our customers because it is incredibly convenient. But that being said, again, we're talking about right now, we expect to serve around 100 dogs, and most of our families, we have a current business we're operating, have multiple dogs. So we're talking about less than 100 cars on a daily basis.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? Okay, yes.
I just had a question. So the dogs are inside the facility.
Yeah, can
So
I
if
just
they're
give you a quick overview
barking
of
or
the
making
business?
noise, it'll be from inside.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. All dogs inside. We're not asking for any exterior play yard. We won't be outside at all. Only barking would be within, just coming from the parking lot into the building. And we're grooming only, so we will not be doing daycare or boarding or any other services.
Alderwoman Goad.
My question's going to piggyback off of that with the holding play area. So how are you going to address issues where or have you thought through issues where people drop off their dog on their way to work and then want to pick up their dog in the evening? Like, how do you ensure that it doesn't turn into a boarding or a daycare facility
Absolutely.
for a 9-hour
So
day?
for those longer days, we absolutely expect some dogs to be there for longer periods of time, but we have programs such as grooming desensitization, so helping dogs get more familiar with the grooming process. Some, what I would call small play groups, again, not daycare. Nobody is allowed to be there that is just coming for daycare. It is if their dog is there for a grooming service. So there's nobody, you can't pay to bring your dog to daycare there. But if your dog is coming to grooming there, they might be able to play with other dogs while they're with us.
For an extended period of time.
I mean, for the day that they're there. But
the day
again,
that
you
they're-
can't drop your dog off there if they're not also receiving a
Yes,
grooming
but if they're
service.
getting groomed, it could be over a 6-hour period of time.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And that's part of the convenience. That way, currently most grooming salons operate with a smaller window of time where you've got to break up your day, especially if you're working. Most people struggle with that, or you have to schedule your time around your dog's grooming service. We're saying you can drop off in the morning on your way to work and pick up on the way home for convenience.
Anyone else? Alderman Gould.
I've got a question for you as well. That particular location has a lot of concrete around. Where will you have bio breaks for these dogs?
Absolutely. So it will be.
I didn't know how to put that.
No, it's a fair question. My previous experience is with a national franchise called Darktopia. I've been with them for the past 5 years. In most locations, all dogs are using, it's basically more like an inside play yard versus an exterior play yard. So
Okay.
there'll be drains in the floors cleaned multiple times a day, but dogs will stay inside.
So you're not taking them out of the structure, you're not walking them around and.
Correct. That's
and
not the current
Trying to
plan.
find grass somewhere, killing a patch of grass that's this big.
Correct. There is, the APA is right behind us, so there is actually a huge patch of grass behind us, right under the metro. Again, we don't expect that to be part of our operations, but there is grass right there. As more for me, from my perspective as an operations person, for like an evacuation
Oh,
guideline,
sure.
it's nice to be
That's-
able to
I
have
mean, it's a
somewhere
good
there.
point to bring up.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Any other questions? If not, based upon the rationale given, anybody care to make a motion for a second read?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. City Attorney, can we get a second read by title only, please?
Bill number 6564, an ordinance authorizing a new conditional use permit and site development plan for Good Clean Dog grooming services with drive-up facility within the building at 1234 Hanley Industrial Court in the LI Light Industrial District.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to perfect Bill number 6564 into ordinance form.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice.
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderman Gould. Alderwoman Harder.
Yes.
Alderman Erger.
Yes.
Okay. By a vote of, I guess it's 8-0.
Yes.
Bill 6564 will become an ordinance.
Great, thank you. That brings us down to Bill number 6565. Can we get a first read by title only, please?
Yes, Bill number 6565, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5111 for the conditional use permit and site development plan for Larch Adult Daycare Facility and Group Home at 9445 Litzinger Road.
Anybody hearing that? Is it a delay? 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 Sorry. All right, Whitney. We're going to have fun.
So this is an amendment to the prior ordinance number 511, to allow for the addition onto the main building at 9445 Litzinger Road to provide an elevator to make the internal building ADA accessible.
Okay. All right, do we have any questions about this? As we frantically try to figure out how to stop this echo.
I just have one question. Jeez, this is terrible.
Keep going.
Is there a reason why this wasn't put into the original plans? I guess that it's maybe because they're going to have a tenant that might need it, that it was added?
Yeah. My name's Sam Barrett. I'm filling in for Paula Kilcoyne, who's out of town. The reason, to my understanding, that it wasn't in our original, so this is throwing me off.
Understand. Just keep rolling.
No, it's part of the reason we're hoping to have the elevator is so that folks with a disability who are using a wheelchair or a walker who can't get upstairs, they'll be able to, because we're hoping to have respite services in the future where someone who has a loved one in their family is going out of town, and they can drop off their person at L'Arche, and we can support them for a weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's, I mean, I think it's a great addition to an already great building. I mean, my sister is actually in one of those facilities, not L'Arche, but another one, and she's wheelchair bound, so I think accessibility for these buildings is very important.
Yes, Alderwoman Tice.
Oh, I just want to publicly say that I'm going to abstain from this because I'm on the board of L'Arche, so.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Harder. Nothing? Okay. You've asked for a second read tonight as well?
Yes. That's my
Same
understanding.
reasons provided by the other applicants?
Yeah, yep, same reason.
Okay, thank you. Based upon that, anybody care to make a motion for a second read of 6565 tonight's meeting?
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that for a second read? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Noted. Alderman Tice, did you vote on that one?
I did not.
Okay, so we had a count of 6, 1, and 1 abstain. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, second read by title only, please.
Bill number 6565, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5111 for the conditional use permit and site development plan for L'Arche Adult Daycare Facility and Group Home at 9445 Litzinger Road.
Perfection?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Yes.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Goode,
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderman Gould,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder,
Yes.
Alderman Erger. Bill 6565 will become an ordinance.
Thank you. Thank you, congratulations. Brings us down to item 6566.
6566, annual consumer price, CPI, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5164, established the revised compensation schedule for Brentwood employees to clarify the procedure for calculation of annual adjustments to employee pay and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. D'Angela?
Good evening, Tangela. I promise to keep this quick. So essentially, the staff were asking to move the month back to June as opposed to August to align better with our budgeting process.
This was brought up at Ways and Means recently.
Correct.
Okay, and Chairwoman Tice?
Yes, we approve this. It really helps the budgeting process to use the June number. And if the CPI changes dramatically, it'll catch up with them the next year. So it's fair to
That
the
is correct.
employees too.
Thank you. Any other questions? And staff, we would like a second read on this tonight.
please.
Can we get a motion to that effect, please?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. City Attorney, can we get a second read of Bill 6566 by title only, please?
Bill number 6566, annual consumer price index, CPI, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5164, established the revised compensation schedule for Brentwood employees to clarify the procedure for calculation of annual adjustments to the employee pay and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Motion to perfect Bill number 6566 in ordinance form.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice?
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder?
Yes.
Alderman Erger. By a vote of 8-0, Bill 6566 will become an ordinance.
Thank you. And that brings us to the last item under new business, and that's Bill number 6567. Could we get a first read by title only, please?
Bill number 6567, an ordinance granting site development plan approval for modification of the Brentwood Metrolink station located at 8398 Eager Road and 1401 Music Memorial Drive.
Thank you. We have somebody from Metro, I'm guessing. Do you want to come on up to the, yeah, feel free, come on up. Just
Echo
state your
chamber.
name and briefly, because of the reverberation we're having here, if you want to just explain to the board what this is about.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Haydeniak. I'm the project manager for the Secure Platform Plan. Just real briefly, we're here to seek approval for the modifications to the platform, or the station entrance. The Secure Platform, we're installing fencing, gates, and CCTVs to better enhance the security of the Metrolink alignment.
Any questions? Nope. And you're asking for a second read for this tonight as well?
Correct. Yep.
And I'm assuming the reason for that is because we're in the summer schedule and we only have one meeting a month instead of 2 times a month, and you'd like to get this done sooner rather than wait. Okay, contract has been awarded. Okay, wonderful. Based upon that rationale, anybody care to make a motion for a second read?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, can we get a second read by title only, please?
Bill number 6567, an ordinance granting site development plan approval for modification to the Brentwood Metrolink station located at 8398 Eager Road and 1401 Music Memorial Drive.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to perfect Bill number 6567 into ordinance form.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, I'm sorry.
One clarification question. Is this just for the fencing, or is this for the fencing and the gates?
This is for the fence and the gates. The fencing did receive a variance at the Board of Adjustment to go over, to be within, along the right-of-way, and to be over the use of metal, and to be over 6 feet tall.
And this is the same system that's at the Central West End and other areas going in the exact same look?
Correct. We have 11 stations that. Sorry, go ahead. We have 11 stations that are currently active, and we're using the same materials at each station.
Timeline-wise, since the contract's been awarded, any idea when construction will begin?
We are hoping to begin construction within the next couple of weeks. Total completion will be January of 2026.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any other? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice?
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder?
Yes.
Alderman Erger. By a vote of 8-0, Bill 6567 will become an ordinance.
Okay, thank you. We have a request to go to closed session following tonight's meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Yes, citizen comments. Thank you. Congratulations. No, we're done with you. Yeah. Anybody in the public care to address the board? Now is the time to do so. All we ask is that you come to the podium, state your name and your address, and you'll be given up to 3 minutes. Okay. As I was saying, we do have a request to go into closed session tonight, and I believe it is, I'm still struggling with the diligence system as well, but I think it is pursuant to RSMO 610.021 subsection 1, 12, is that it? 1 and 12, and to adjourn from that closed session.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice?
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder?
Yes.
Alderman Erger. Motion carries by a vote of 8-0.